Hey everyone, welcome back into Soul Plus Systems. I'm your host, Jenn Fix, and we're officially stepping into season 6 with deeper conversations, stronger stories, and guests who are here to help us grow from the root. Today's guest is Kristina Gibbons. Kristina, the pastoral counselor with a mindset coach, speaker, author, and founder of Acts Church Enterprises. Her message is powerful and simple. Change what's planted and change what grows. And today we're going to talk about emotional patterns, faith, mindset, healing, and what it really takes to stop repeating cycles and start growing something new. Kristina, welcome into Soul Plus Systems.
It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you. It is an honor to have you on the show as well. For someone who's meeting you for the first time, who is Kristina today?
Ooh, Kristina today is much different from Kristina before. Kristina today understands that there's a root issue that needs to be dealt with. We could cut the weeds and keep cutting them, but if we don't get to that root, the fruit stays the same, and we've got to change the root to get to the fruit.
What led you into the pastoral counseling, the coaching, and the speaking and the authorship? Was there a moment that really spoke to your soul?
It was actually by accident. I believe a lot in failing forward, so I made a lot of mistakes to get here, and I stumbled into it. My husband was incarcerated. I had a radical transformation with the Lord, and I gave my life to Jesus, surrendered to him, and he said, "Go start a recovery ministry." And I'm like, "Me?" So I started a recovery ministry and started to see that no matter who they were, no matter what was going on in their life, it was a mindset issue. And so I started pastoral counseling because I wanted to make a difference. And I learned that having faith in the background really changed the foundation of that difference, but the mindset really matters.
Your message says change what's planted and change what grows. What does that mean to you?
I think everyone can understand that being negative is contagious, right? So if someone's negative, having a bad day, it really affects everybody. What I didn't realize is that I had been hurt a lot in life. And so instead of expecting good things to happen, I always was like, oh man, I got to strike first before they strike me. And so I'd hurt people unintentionally, thinking they were going to hurt me. So I might as well just get it out of the way so I could be right about them disappointing me. And what I noticed is I started to change what was planted in me. I started to change my mindset, started to change what I was listening to, how I was speaking, and things like that. And that really made the difference. It changed not only what grows inside, but the people around me. I was kind of like the lighthouse for people. People started to see, oh, wow, I don't have to be negative. Oh, wow, maybe I can change that thought process. Maybe I don't suck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, one of the biggest changes that I made was not being reactive
That's a good one.
and being contained. Sometimes it's really hard, especially having the past and the history that I do as well. I can relate to things when you mentioned not having the bandwidth for the drama or the toxicity around you in order to keep your mental mind sharp. You talk about patterns having a root. What are some of the patterns that people keep repeating without realizing where they started?
Codependency. People want to be loved sometimes so much that they will tolerate just about anything to be accepted. And you really can't do that. You can't be like, oh, I need this person so much. If I don't do this, they'll leave. Those aren't behavior. That person doesn't love you anyway. And so the most freeing thing you can do is break up with codependency. The most freeing thing you can do is say, you know what? This is who I am. And if that person doesn't like me, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, those are a lot of self realization moments there. I've had a lot of self realization moments too, especially as we've had guests on the show that have taught me a lot about myself. Was there a moment that you first realized that people need more root level healing, not just like the scratch the surface level change?
Yes. So what I realized is that trauma creates survival patterns. And some people don't realize trauma because they start comparing themselves with other people's stories. And you really can't do that because their level of trauma is for them, right? It may be a headache to you and a migraine to somebody else. We can't compare other people's stuff. And so what I noticed is that people were really having root issues with trauma and they were focused on things that changed everything about how they saw people, how they dealt with, but they'd be like, oh, it's not as bad as what's going on with this person or that person. And so there was perfectionism is another one, hyper independence, control, avoidance, anxiety, all these things that people do that really change how you interact with people, including your family.
Yeah, that's something I can relate to as well. At times, my nervous system doesn't know how to stand down. Those are things that I'm still learning. The hypervigilance, always anticipating something to happen or to Murphy's law.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate to those things. How does the faith that you have, how does that play into the healing work that you do?
So I pause, pray, and reset constantly. Because sometimes, like you're talking about the body, you're up high and you don't realize that your body is coming into agreement with the things that you think before you even realize that you're thinking them. And so I just try to pause and pray and trust the Lord. And the Lord says, don't worry about tomorrow. It's got enough problems. Focus on today. And so what I try to remember is to be in the moment and not focus on all the burdens of the world. Because if you turn on the news, if you listen to all these podcasts that are gloom and doom, right? It's so negative all the time. And so leaning in on my faith is really powerful for me, but also remembering that I just need to worry about today. And if all I can do today is breathe and get out of bed, then that's 100% better than what I did yesterday if I couldn't get out of bed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that the amount of time that we have on this earth is just it's precious. We every moment that we have here is precious. So if you can build that mindset where you're able to find the peace and to go within and to hear the inner calling like you were mentioning about the lighthouse for others. I too have had that calling as well. Can somebody love God and know scripture and still be emotionally struggling behind the scenes?
100%. And so I often tell people that behavior is fruit, right? And beliefs are root. You can believe in the Lord, love him with all your heart, no matter what you believe, right? And still have really bad fruit because your beliefs are in humanly things or your beliefs are negative and your beliefs aren't right where they're supposed to be. And so we have to break up with some of those things. And an example would be I deal with a lot of people who have to do things. And so I say, instead of having to do things, go with I get to. I get to do this. I get to help my husband with this. And it really changed how they would perceive things. And so you can be a really good person and check that box and nothing absolutely change in your life because you have to do everything or you get to do this and you do it with a mindset where you don't postpone that joy and joy be the choice. And so joy is a choice that you get to make today. I get to be joyful in my circumstance, no matter how ugly that circumstance is.
Yeah, I that absolutely. Your site says that you can be strong in public and still be unraveling in private. Can you unpack that statement for us a little bit?
Yes, I deal with a lot of people who are strong leaders. In public, you're like, that person's amazing. I just love everything about them. But internally, there's something missing. And so one of the things I work with them on, science calls it neuroplasticity, right? But scripture calls it renewing the mind, is that we rewire the things that we need to work on. The more we talk about it, the more we see it, the more we do it, we fix it. And so sometimes when you're dealing with these strong people outside in the public, they're like, this broken little child inside or something like abandoned or unloved. And the truth is they are loved, but they don't see it. And it starts with loving yourself. Is it okay to love yourself?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people wait to ask for permission and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. They should every day. They should wake up and look at themselves in the mirror and say, you know what? You're worth it. You're
Yes.
loved. You're strong. You got this. One rep at a time. Whatever words come to mind. Or for people who are into praying to God, into Jesus and stuff like that. I'm more spiritual. So for me, looking within and looking at myself and holding myself accountable in the mirror and being able to say, you're stronger. Get up every day, one rep at a time, and to spread the light, whether that's God or that's fill in the blank, right? There's so many misconceptions that people have around healing, whether it's spiritual or philosophical or religious, right? So, what do you think people misunderstand the most about healing?
People think healing is weakness. Oh, I need to go see a therapist. I'm weak. And that's the biggest lie ever. You're actually stronger, right? Because if you need help and admit that you need help, are you not stronger than the person who is prideful and believes that everything's fine or they're going to get through it without any guidance? I think that's a big one. Another thing is sometimes it's rooted in fear, right? What are people going to think? And fear is, to me, a form of conflict. You've got to make a decision on if you're going to stretch and grow or you're going to stay in that same spot and be miserable in that circle. Because we all have that repeated pattern where you keep going in the circle and you have to get out of the circle. You have to get out of that wheel to see, I like fail forward, but to see yourself fail forward, make the mistakes, grow. How many times did you make a mistake on your podcast starting out, right? You don't do those mistakes anymore.
Sometimes, maybe, you never know. You never know. For me, fail stands for first attempt at learning, right? I think that
Yeah.
was what it was. Yeah. So, fail forward. The entrepreneur who never starts, they never get anywhere. The ones who take the chances, even when there's no clapping, there's no audience, there's no, eventually that back catalog becomes evergreen. And one day somebody finds you. I think that for someone listening who feels stuck and they're in that same emotional reaction, the relationship drama, the toxicity, the internal battles, the codependency, everything that you've spoken about, like I think I've lived a lot of that, a lot of
Me
those
too.
things. Again, it all comes down to the growing process. Where should they begin?
Begin with being honest with yourself. And one of the things I like people to do is if anyone's willing to give this a shot, I call it a mind dump. You sit there and you write out for at least 5 minutes, write everything. I don't know why this lady telling me to write. This is stupid, whatever. I don't care, but write everything down. And then when you see what you've written down in that 5 minutes, that's most of your thought life. That's most of the things that sometimes it needs an outlet to just go to die. And sometimes it's real root issues that need to be fixed. If it's all negative, that's a problem. If it's negative and positive, that's a balance. Balance can be healthy. If it's all positive, I'm going to ask you to think again because maybe we're not thinking realistically, right? Not everything's going to be a bed full of roses.
And I
It's,
would say it's not going to be like rainbows and unicorns.
no.
Yeah. And growth and healing is incredibly brilliant. It's just sexy.
Mhm.
It's the new kindness. Kindness is the new cool. I think we should start a slogan. Kindness is the new cool.
I like it.
Unless that's already been done. But hey,
You heard it here first, no matter what.
you heard it here first. That's right. That's right. So, as a coach, a counselor, a speaker, an author, and a founder, what systems help you keep serving without burning out?
I make sure to incorporate rest. And I think people don't rest enough. If you are working 7 days a week, you are pouring from an empty cup. It is very important that you have firm boundaries. And boundaries is an ugly word to people who don't have them. But if you don't have boundaries, you're going to be eaten up alive. They're going to swallow you whole. Have the rest. You'll do more at capacity than you would if you were just trying to do everything. A person who tries to do everything and get it all in, they're tired. They're not going to do anything right, right? You miss things, you make mistakes. Oh, I said I was going to do that. Oh, I didn't balance this well. But if you rest, you can do anything. Rest is okay.
You know what? Again, I completely relate because I'm at this 6 days a week. So, if I don't have a strict regimen and a strict routine and just be able to stay on task each day, I would be so wiped out. I would forget probably to do an adrenaline short or go live on a Friday or something like that. So, rest, I 100% agree. Whether you're an athlete or an entrepreneur, it really all goes in the same category. So, what does success look like for you in this season coming up for you?
I recently published a book and it was really a love letter to myself, old me that needed healing and walking through the journey. And success would be just helping one person on a grander scale. If you help 100 people, that's fabulous, right? But even if it's for the one person that just felt like they needed that, that would be the biggest goal for me. Another thing for success is to ensure that I'm incorporating rest in my weekly regimen, right? And practicing what I preach. I think it's very important to put yourself out there and stretch a little more. So I like to challenge myself and do things I normally don't do. I'm not sure what that looks like in this season, but we're just going to see where the Lord takes me.
Oh, you got to pay attention to that inner calling and that inner light. So, Kristina, before we close, I want to give you space to share everything. Where can people find you? Drop your website, your social media, your books, your programs, and anything else you want people to know about you.
So the best way to reach me is pastorchristina.com, Christina with a K. And Battlefield to Breakthrough is the book. I pray that people will give it a shot. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere books are sold online. You just pull it up. But the important part is to reach out. Mrs. Kristina Gibbons on Facebook. Reach out if you have questions, if you need anything, if you want to talk about mental health, especially men out there that need to be helped and broken free. It's okay to get help. Doesn't have to be me, right? But go somewhere. But if you're going to get help, interview that person and make sure they're the right fit for you. Not everyone's going to be the right fit, and that's okay. There's somebody for everybody out there. Just make sure that when you reach out to somebody, you're asking questions and you're making sure that it's the right fit for you and it goes along with what you believe.
Comfort goes a long way, especially on the healing journey. You have to be able to trust in yourself and trust in others. Kristina, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your heart, your wisdom, and the work that you're doing to help people heal at the root instead of just managing the symptoms. And everyone watching or listening, if this conversation spoke to you, share it with somebody who needs it. Subscribe on YouTube. Come and see me live on Friday nights on YouTube as well. Follow Soul Plus Systems on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And make sure that you connect with Kristina through the links in the description. Season 6 is here. And if this conversation is any sign of what's coming, we are going deeper than ever. Until next time, keep building your soul, keep building your systems, and remember, the life you're trying to build isn't waiting for permission. It's waiting for you to build it.